If you love Paul Harvey-style stories, subscribe now.
The CA was among the best flyers that the Americans had in World War I. He could perform evasive maneuvers and diversionary aerobatics that would have baffled the Red Baron. But on October 4th, 1918, CA was shot down. Twice the same day, on the same mission. And his trouble was only beginning. What got him in this fix in the first place was, well, that is the rest of the story. Toward the end of September 1918 in the French Argonne Forest, American troops of the 77th Division engaged the army of the Kaiser. And that battle raged off and on for days. By early October, American rations and medical supplies were almost gone. Casualties were heavy. Before long, the Germans would have them completely surrounded. "We need reinforcements fast," American commanding officer Major Charles W. Whittlesey demanded. And on October 4th, he got what he'd asked for, for U.S. Army intelligence had misjudged the location of Major Whittlesey's men. Now, the American 77th Division, in addition to being engulfed by the Germans, found themselves being bombarded by American artillery as well. Major Whittlesey was desperate. Now, there was neither much of an airstrip nor much of an air force behind his own shattered lines. Only 6 flyers, in fact. But that Air Corps was the Americans' only chance to get this frantic message to headquarters in Rampont, 25 miles distant. That too. "We're along the road parallel 276.4. Our own artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it." The first American flyer took off with that official communique and was promptly shot down by the Germans, as was the second courier, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. That left one flyer, an already celebrated World War I ace nicknamed CA, and before today you may never have heard of him. But from now on you will never ever forget him. "You are our last hope," Major Whittlesey said. He took off into the grim gray sky, struggling to reach an altitude beyond the range of German artillery. And yet within minutes, enemy anti-aircraft bullets had ripped one of his wings. Down he went, barely pulling out in time to land in one piece. There was not much room in the rutted field to take off again. But incredibly, he took off again, only to be riddled by a second volley of enemy fire. Well, CA pulled out of the tailspin seconds before crashing. But this time he had seriously malfunctioning control surfaces, had a chest wound and a shattered leg, had been blinded in one eye. And still, somehow, he reached Rampont, landed safely, delivered the vital message that led to the eventual rescue of the 77th Division, and for his valor, California was awarded the United States Distinguished Service Medal and the French Croix de Guerre. And when his wounds had healed, he was reassigned stateside to the Signal Corps in Washington, D.C. And when he died a year later, he was stuffed. And he was stuffed and installed in the aeronautics display at the Smithsonian Institution. Or have you guessed that? The celebrated American flyer was no aviator. The hero of the Argonne, whose mission impossible you have just relived. You may visit where he sits on display to this day. CA, whose full name Cher-Ami, means dear friend. A one-eyed, one-legged, stout-hearted carrier pigeon. Only now you know the rest of the story.